Good evening, everybody. This is your boy D-Cot coming to you live and clear from the Cots Station on the east side of Indianapolis. Welcome to Cots Corner tonight. Here to have a little bit of fun. Here for a good time, not a long time. A couple topics I want to hit on. The music is nice, but I scale that back just a little bit. I want to talk about NIL tonight. I want to talk about the NFL coaching vacancies. I want to talk a little bit of NBA, not a whole lot. I also want to hit on a little bit of NIL. So I'm going to start off tonight with the NBA, surprisingly. I want to start off with a guy in the Eastern Conference, a guy by the name of Jaylen Brown. This guy has done nothing but be remarkable all season long for the Boston Celtics. Earlier in the season, about games 1 or 2, was talk about there's no way that Boston can win in the East. There's no way because they've got their best player, Jason Tatum, out for the season. You know, you've got people mocking my guy, Jaylen Brown, calling him Robin, calling him a guy who can't use his left hand, sending me videos of him in workouts struggling with his left hand. That's all well and good. But all those people that sent me those videos, you can't hoop either. You ain't in the NBA. And I guarantee you can't hoop. But let me tell you this about Jaylen Brown. If you're seeing those videos, you see them, post them all on social media, why can't the NBA players stop Jaylen Brown? Give you a little bit of stats here, just a little bit, just for Mr. Brown. This season, averaging 29.6 points a game versus last year, 22.2. He's shooting 50.1% from the field as a whole. In other words, he's hitting half of his shots, all of them, versus 46 last season. 36% from three versus last season, 32%. 77, almost 78% from the line versus 76 last year. 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Robins don't do that. Robins don't carry their teams to a second place standard right now in the East after about 35 games. This man is balling himself out on both ends of the court. He's a self-proclaimed best two-way player in the game, is what he said. There's no real measurement for that. I'll give him that argument. I'll let him have it. But I would do this. I would challenge you, anybody, to give me another player that's playing right now better for his team under the same circumstances or similar, where supposedly their best player's out for the season, Mr. Three-point shot himself, right? Jason Tatum. Pull up a three. He's not a two-way player like Mr. Brown. He doesn't go to the cup like Mr. Brown. I think Mr. Brown has intimidated a lot of people because of his intelligence. The man went to Cal, could have been an astronaut. He scared away a lot of colleges when he went to college. Scared away a lot of NBA teams as well. All he's done, kept his mouth shut for the most part, locked guys up on the defensive end, and carried his team into currently a second place spot in the East right now, right behind Detroit, 3.5 games behind Detroit, ahead of the New York Knicks, ahead of the Philadelphia 76ers, and ahead of a few other teams as well. So those of you that are mad at Jaylen Brown or dismissing his basketball skill, saying no, he can't use his left hand. If he's cut his left off, he has nothing. Look at the stats here. That same guy with no left hand, the 5 statistical categories that are really important in basketball and what everybody uses as a metric: points, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage, rebounds, and assists. All those things are up. His team is playing better right now than they were playing this time last year. Just look it up. You ain't got to believe me. Just look it up. So you all owe Mr. Brown an apology. I know you won't give him an apology, but that's okay. I will apologize for Mr. Brown for you. Jaylen Brown, you're on the peak right now of your career. You're ready, definitely going to be an all-star this year. You're going to probably be all NBA. I would think so, but people are afraid of you and your intelligence. What about MVP? Cade Cunningham's a bad dude. Leading the East right now, 3.5 games above this Boston Celtic team. Give me another few guys. Who do you got in the West? You say Shea. Shea's always there, right? Who else you got? For my money, I'll take Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown ain't foul baiting. He ain't falling on the floor. Can't breathe on him and he knock him down. So right now, my take, my guy is the Boston Celtics, small forward, do all, defender, offensive player, stays out of trouble. We don't clown about hair over here and what happened with whatever that was, pain or whatever. We don't do that. We're talking about what's on the basketball court. So keep the clowning to yourself. We don't want to entertain that. Right now, Jaylen Brown's that guy. If there's any conversation about it, please, by all means, share it. I would love to see some of the comments and see what people are saying. It's interesting because right now, I would say absolutely 100% Jaylen Brown's the guy in the NBA. So just sharing that information from my perspective, from the Cots Corner perspective. But again, I don't want to belabor the point because if I start talking about the NBA, I'll start talking about my Pacers, and they're struggling right now. Worst team in the NBA right now. Worst record. Mr. Commissioner, I know you're listening. I know you're watching. You owe the Pacers from that Patrick Ewing fiasco. I'm ready to hear in June of 2026 with the first pick in the NBA draft 2026, the Indiana Pacers select insert name here. I want all the smoke. I want my boys to win, but I want them to play hard. They happen to lose. I understand that, and that's what it has to be. But right now, those are my boys. They're going to continue to be my boys. And if they keep on with the pace they're at, they're on a pace of about 16 wins for the year. That may put them in that situation where they get the first pick. But now we all know the ping pong balls are varied now. Just because you have the most losses doesn't mean you're going to get the number one pick. But Mr. Commissioner, I know the other commissioner, one who did it. But please, you owe the Pacers with what happened last year with our superstar player being out in the seventh game of a game that everyone in this state says they would have won. So owe us. June 2026, Mr. Commissioner, I'll say it one more time. With the first pick of the 2026 NBA draft, the Indiana Pacers select. So that's my NBA piece for now. I will have more for that later on. But I want to pivot. I want to pivot to the college football playoffs. We got 4 teams left. We got Oregon versus Indiana. We got Miami. And we've got I'm going to say Clemson. And we got Ole Miss. We got Miami and Ole Miss. We got a team that's a fast break team going against a ball control team. How is that going to work? Does Ole Miss keep that pace up? Are they still looking to set a record for number of plays ran? How are they going to protect against that strong defensive line for Miami? The depth, maybe has some challenges there, as we saw in the Ohio State game. There's a little bit towards the second half. There was a little bit of struggle. But who knows what may happen? There's a lot of time between now and tomorrow when that game is to be played. But for my money, I know that Ole Miss is a 3.5-point favorite. I think the over-under is 52.5, if I remember correctly. I think at this point, since Ole Miss did beat Georgia and they fast break them like they thought they were going to do, I would say Ole Miss in a win this week, tomorrow. I think they cover the 3.5 points. I don't know about the score, but something along the lines of maybe 26 to 14, something along those lines. I think it may be under because I think Miami has a hell of a defense. They got a hell of a defensive line, and I think they're going to be ready to play. But I think over the time of the game, I think Ole Miss may wear on them with that speed and those continuation of plays. Those guys, when they're tackled, They're running back to the line, getting the ball to the official. Let's go for the next play. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens as well, too. But right now, I would say 26-14, Ole Miss. That could change if something happens tonight or tomorrow. If a guy doesn't do what he's supposed to do for bad check, we'll see what happens. But the next game, the game that most are really interested in, especially here in the state of Indiana, Indiana Hoosiers against the Oregon Ducks, playing in Georgia. Indiana Hoosiers 30-20 this year against Oregon. In Oregon, slapped them around. Game wasn't that close. I know my co-host looked into the camera and said, listen to me, Indiana, you're not going to win. You're going to lose. He was so confident. All Indiana did is what Indiana's done all year. Listen to their coach, go out west, strap it on, that helmet, strap it on, and went out there and took care of business. Indiana Hoosiers have done nothing to make me think this train is going to stop this weekend. The Indiana Hoosiers have the best quarterback in college football. They've got the Heisman Trophy winner, and they've got a coach who says, I'm not going to let anybody tell me how to run my team. I'm going to put my foot on the gas. I'm going to continue to play hard, and I'm not letting up. As I've spoke about many times on this platform for years and years and years, Indiana has done nothing but take beat down after beat down after beat down. This is not your daddy's Lee Corso's 1980 Indiana Hoosiers. This is Curt Cignetti, the man who says, Google me, and he's ready to make it happen. This man is 63 years old. He's had to wait a long time to get this type of praise and accolades. Yes, we know he was down in Tuscaloosa for 4 years, coaching under the greatest of all time. Still had to wait. 63 years old. Can you imagine waiting that many years to see what's going to happen when you have an opportunity to take advantage of something like this? There will be no stones unturned for Indiana. There will be no Oregon player taken lightly. They're going to dissect every play of the game that they played earlier in the year. They're going to ball out. They're going to put pressure on that quarterback who now is all of a sudden starting to rise on all these quote-unquote draft boards. And those draft boards even talked about him at the beginning of the season. But see what happens when you win? When you win, you get some attention. Okay? So I'm going to take Mr. Mendoza. I'm going to take his skill, his maturity, his professionalism, and I'm also going to take the fact that he loves his mama. He talks about it all the time. He shares it. He's a passionate young man. Came from Cal yet last year. He's Cuban, of course, and he grew up in Miami. All those things are wonderful. Still got to play on the field. We're going to be playing in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia is, just so everybody knows, second home of the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm not going to let it go. So I'm taking Indiana over Oregon again. They're going to do exactly what Texas Tech did to Oregon, just in an indoor stadium. Give me the Hoosiers 27-10 over the Oregon Ducks to set up a finals matchup of Ole Miss and Indiana for January the 19th, Monday, January the 19th. Fast break team versus a ball control team that's going to hit you in the mouth. Who can score some points too if needed. That'll be an interesting take. I look forward to it. This thing could change, and both those teams I said could win, could probably lose. Doesn't matter. We're just talking anyway. We're just having fun. Guaranteed half of you probably saying, no, you're wrong, Cot. There's no way. I'm taking Miami and I'm taking Oregon. Okay. Now what? I'm still taking Indiana and I'm taking Ole Miss. That's where we are. So with that said, what do you think about the matchup for the final game? Do you think the fast break overtakes the Curt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers and takes them down? Or do you think over the time of the game, does the Curt Cignetti, dare I say, mystique? Who said mystique? Mystique? Kurt Signetti, Indiana, Mystique in the same sentence? Argue with somebody else. I think I like it. My guy's chiming in. Isaiah's chiming in and says, give me IU. Roll Hoosiers. We'll go with that. We'll roll with the Hoosiers all day long and twice on Sunday. So with that said, Kurt Signetti, do you scare Ole Miss? Is there a little bit of fear that Ole Miss may have, seeing what Kurt and the boys have done to the teams that are in front of them? Ohio State slapped them. Alabama beat the snot out of them. Oregon slapped them. Maybe, just maybe, Ole Miss says, "Uh-oh, maybe we may bite off more than we can chew." And granted, the game hasn't been played yet, and it's not even been determined yet. We're just prognosticating. If that happens, what do you say? Monday, January 19th, Indiana Hoosiers versus the Ole Miss Rebels. Indiana versus Mississippi. How appropriate. Kid born and raised in Indiana, mom and daddy from Mississippi. I'm still taking the Hoosiers. Give me the Hoosiers in the national title game to, I was going to say cut down the nets, but they don't cut down the nets in football. They get them on the 50-yard line and put a stage up there and say, let's have at it. So with that said, that's my thought about the college football playoffs, who is and who isn't. But I want to stick on a little bit of football right now. I want to talk a little NIL. And when I'm going to finish up, with NFL, but I want to talk about the NIL. Right now, I got some reports that said, there's NIL, there's over 9,000 players in the portal. I haven't found that on any credible website. I know there was an agent or something along those lines that said it. What I'm seeing is there were 4,000 players that went into the portal between the 2nd and the 5th of January. Not sure how many exactly were in the portal prior to, because those numbers aren't 100% accurate, because guys come in and come out pretty quickly. But with that said, you're talking about over 4,000 players. That's for sure. Over 4,000 players in the portal. Guys that are quickly committing to other schools. Indiana's picked up, I think, 5 players already. Teams that are in the playoffs are potentially losing guys. Teams that lost last week are picking up guys at a frantic pace, and also losing guys. But keep this in mind: in the NIL world, in the transfer portal, these young men are trying to strike while the iron's hot. Okay. I can't blame those guys. There are no guardrails in place for the NIL, the transfer portal at all, or none. What I like about what's going on with the volume of players going into the portal is this is going to require some type of level set and guardrail with regard to NIL and transfer portal. It's time. I think players should be able to transfer. I think they should be able to get as much money as they can. Because we've talked about and chronicled on this show and many others, less than 2% of the college football players are going to play in the NFL. So those of you all that said they need to appreciate what they're doing, they're getting a scholarship, that's golden for them. Okay, I'll take the scholarship. I'll take the free education. And I'll also take that $3 million out the bat. You go to college to better your life. You don't go to college just to play football. You don't go to college just to be on TV. You go to college to better your life, better your financial standing, benefit yourself from what your God-given abilities are. That's to run, jump, throw, kick, catch. So if you're discounting these players for going into the NIL and getting as much bag as they can, because it's business. There's always been business. It's just different now. The player rabbit has the gun. Now we're mad. They should appreciate what they have. They've got it good. College football, I've seen from a few groups that I'm in, college football is over as we remember. Yeah, that could be a good thing. As opposed to getting money in a brown bag in your mother's backyard buried by the doghouse. Now it's out in front. The question I have is this: where was all that money the last 20, 25, 30 years? Minus the brown bag money. You got some commentary about that? Talk to me about that. Those of us that are do-gooders, right? Play for the love of the game. The game ain't going to love you. tear an ACL, tear another one. Ask Michael Penix how he's doing. Yeah, he was drafted. They're already talking about maybe medically retiring him. I didn't hear that from the Atlanta Falcons, but let's talk about it. 3 ACL injuries. He's got love for the game. How much is the game going to love him if he can't produce on the field? This is a business. This is not about friends and buddies. This is business. The NFL, the NIL, and college football is a business. So the sooner we accept and understand that, the sooner we'll be able to go forward with our conversations and have dialogue that's respectful and has some dignity to it, as opposed to they should appreciate what they got. They spitting in the coaches' faces. They're lying to these coaches. You don't think Lane Kiffin lied his ass off all year? My guy, Nick Saban, he lied his ass off too. Those players at LSU. We don't want to keep talking about coaches misleading, directing. So be careful when you talk about these players, right? These kids. These are young men. They've got agents. They've got agencies that support them and that also are have secured a somewhat of a bag for them. It's business. There's also talk about, well, if the players are getting paid, they shouldn't be allowed to opt out. I don't know. I haven't looked as much into that as much as many have. Maybe it's a good point. Maybe you shouldn't be able to opt out. Maybe you should. Maybe it should be in your contract. If, in fact, my team is out of the running for a national title, I can opt out. Or I can act like I got a hurt knee. What do you want? Coaches do it. I'm not going anywhere. My people haven't talked to anybody. But then all of a sudden, at the end of the season, he's gone. Schools are doing it to coaches as well. My guy at Penn State. All he did was bring respect to Penn State football. Didn't bring a national title. You got to realize they hadn't had one in over 30 years either, by the way. A lot of respect. James Franklin. Good man, good father, good coach. He's at Virginia Tech. I hope he does well. So it's happening all around us. But when the players have the gun, also we're upset about it. The nerve of these players. Who do they think they are? They're business people. I respect it. I accept it. And I've got zero issue with these players doing what they can to take care of their families and themselves. Go back to what I said. Less than 2% college football players are going to be in the NFL. Canada has a quota, so you're not jumping there. You want to play in the UFL for whatever their salary is? That's great. That's not the type of money you're talking about. You're not getting endorsements being a quarterback of the UFL, Baltimore Stallions, or the Birmingham Braves. The money's in the NFL. If you're not there, yeah, you may have an opportunity for alumni, opportunity at your old school. You may get tied in with a nice corporation and you did go to class, you took care of business. Okay, fine. But there are some players that just college isn't for them. Playing the game is for them, but college isn't for them. What about those guys? We all know someone. We said, man, that guy, he can play, he can ball. College just wasn't for him. So you just throw him to the curb? No. You go out there and make as much money as you can to provide for your family. And if you play the game right, you very well absolutely could set yourself up for life. You're talking about guys who are getting $2 million for a 1-year deal, $4 million for 2-year deals. Imagine the money that Jeremiah Smith was given to stay at Ohio State. Best receiver in college football. You think he just stayed because he loved Buckeyes? This guy's from Miami, Florida. He don't like this cold weather any more than I do. So don't fool yourself into thinking he just did it for the love of the game. He's going to leave next year, be a top 3 or 4 player picked in the NFL. He's going to take that bag that he has and add to it when he gets drafted. Don't think these guys are going to stay in college for the extra NIL money if they have an opportunity to be a first or second round pick. The real money is still in the NFL because your NIL money is $2 million a year. That's fine. And you do the comparison with Shedeur Sanders and the quarterback, I think, from Texas Tech. Quarterback from Texas Tech, they offered him a 1 year, $5 million deal. Shedeur, his whole contract, $4.6 million. But you know, and I know, Shedeur Sanders probably make about $40 million this year. Merchandise, legendary, who he is, where he is, and all those things that come with it. The money that the players are getting in college is not even close to the money that our star players are getting in the NFL. Star player for star player, it's not close because there's additional endorsements as well too. In the NFL, you have that. College football, yeah, you got your collective for the school, and that's great. It's nice. Basically, boosters saying, "I got you." That's great. But as if you're Shedeur Sanders, you got your contract, you got your legendary. You're doing the sunglasses. You're doing bracelets. You're doing your jersey sales. Somebody can tell me if I'm wrong. I think his jersey sales were number one in the league this year. I'm not a jersey guy, so someone have to help me. But I heard that commentary being spoken about. Could be true. I'm not sure, but it sounds about right because he's hated by many and he's loved by the other half. Very little in between for Mr. Sanders. So with that said, I support NIL. I hope those young men can get as much money, make as much money as they can for as long as they can. Use the system. Don't let the system use you. Okay. Everybody doesn't have to agree with that. That's fine. So be it. We all have an opinion. This is mine though. And you can have yours, and yours is right for you as well. But with that, with all these things we talked about, from NIL to transfer portal, and D. Cots' humble opinion, college football is the best sport in the United States. You can have your baseball, love my baseball. You can have your NFL, love my NFL. You can have your NBA. Used to love the NBA. Now I like it. Love my Pacers, but I just like the NBA. So now horse racing, good with that. I can take horse racing as well. Hockey's great. It's a great in-house sport. Watching it in person is much better than watching it on television. Still take my college football. And with that said, we've got three college football games left in the season. High end, not including the Senior Bowl on January 31st down in Mobile, Alabama. So if you count that, you count 4 college games. 2 this weekend, 1 January 19th, 1 January 31st, which is the Senior Bowl. They don't really keep stats. It's basically a show for seniors to have an opportunity for one last showing to the NFL scouts. Then we flip over to the NFL. The NFL will have exactly 3 games left after that time frame of the college football playoffs. But with that said, let me back up. January 23rd, mark your calendars. That's the day in which the decision is going to be made if the committee decides, or whomever decides, to expand the playoff from 12 teams to 16 teams. There's a lot of discussion going on back and forth on how to break that out. There's talk about no more than 4 teams from a conference. There's talk about guaranteed spots. I've got conversation from some people down south speaking about the SEC and the Big 18, that they're saying they want guaranteed 4 spots every year if, in fact, they go to 16 teams. Guaranteed. Regardless if we got one great team, and in the Big 18, you got 17 mid teams. Or in the SEC, you got one great team and you got 15 mid teams. I don't know. Is that fair? Is it fair for the 2 best conferences, SEC and the Big 10, to have 4 guaranteed spots? That's 8. You still got 8 left. There's room. Will that make people happy? Or will we say we have enough? My guy Isaiah told me 16 times in the last week. We have enough. Okay, I can agree with that. But it's not enough. It's never enough. It's called glutton. We went from no playoff. Remember back in the day, our old school guys that are watching, back in the day, the Orange Bowl was the last game of the season. And then whatever the UPI said was the champion. Then we went to Bowl Championship Series. Then we went to the 4 teams. Now we're at 12 teams. Think about this. They were looking for 16 teams before the ink was dry on the 12 team last year. So if you're naive enough to think that there's not going to be discussion about spreading this, you're just naive. It's about the money. And the more teams you can get in this, we're talking about it. There are still people to this day saying Notre Dame got the shaft. Yeah, that was 5 weeks ago when we talked when the Sunday decision was made. They eat this up. They're going to continue to eat it up. Why? Because it sells. Controversy sells. So it's going to go to 16 teams some way, shape, or form. I don't know exactly how. It's going to go there. But don't think it's going to stop there. If the powers to be have their way, it's going to increase as well. Why? Because we want more. We want more. Your Notre Dames of the world, your BYUs of the world, your Dukes of the world, your Michigans of the world. So what about us? We should have had a look. What about us? Your Vanderbilts of the world. We were 10-2. We were great. It don't stop there. But that's what we love. That's what we absolutely love. I love it because it's controversy. And it gives us more. Yeah, they may have to adjust the calendar and all this. You know, the more I hear about this 27 days off, the more I'm calling shenanigans. Prepare your players. Look at the last 2 years and the teams that had the bye week versus the team that didn't. It's only one game that I could say the team that had the bye week wasn't better than the other team. Indiana was better than Alabama. Well, they had 27 days off. They should have lost, right? Based off of our narrative. So D-Cots narrative on Cots Corner is this. The best team wins. Stop with the excuses. No excuses. Texas Tech, you weren't better than Oregon. Your offense was pedestrian. You weren't better than Oregon. You got a great defense. Just couldn't get it done. If you had the same amount of days off, you would have lost the same way. So stop it. No crying. There's no crying in football. Last part for me. NFL. The coaching carousel is here. We got 7 teams that are looking for a coach. Wow. I think we had 4 fired this week, and we had 3 fired during the season. You got Baltimore, you got the Raiders, you got the Giants, Tennessee, Atlanta, Cleveland, and Arizona. Teams that are not famous of the last 20 years for Super Bowls: Arizona, Cleveland, Atlanta, Tennessee, Giants, Raiders, and other than the Ravens. They lose their coach after 18 years. They say, show them the door. See you later, Mr. Harbaugh. It was time. Who's your pick? Who goes to Baltimore? Who takes the job in Arizona? Who takes the job in the Raiders? Be working with Tom Brady. In Giant world, you got a quarterback. Tennessee Titans, do you think you got a quarterback? Maybe that's a interesting opportunity. Then you got Atlanta. You got Cleveland. I would not want the dumpster fire at Cleveland because right now they're saying that Shedeur Sanders isn't their starting quarterback. The challenge is here. What I say is, thank you very much for that information. Nelson Deaver, 3098, top sellers in Jersey. Saquon, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Mahomes, Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, the guy that people say can't even play quarterback. Wouldn't you all like a piece of his money? Look at the names he's there with. He's there with an MVP. He's there with the Super Bowl champion. He's there with Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year. Pat Mahomes, 3-time Super Bowl champ. Josh Allen, MVP. Justin Jefferson, arguably top 2 or 3 receiver in the league. Saquon Barkley, Super Bowl champion, awesome dude. And Shedeur Sanders is right there with him. I tell you what, he ain't taking that $4 million. He's about that $40 million, just so y'all know. So going back to the coaching carousel, who do you want to see and win? Who goes to Baltimore coming off of the Harbaugh after 18-year run? The war is welcome out, I guess, is what they're saying. I don't know. Maybe they had a conversation with the quarterback. Mr. Jackson said, you know what? We've had enough. Nothing wrong with divorce. It's okay. As long as it's not a messy divorce. And it didn't get messy. The owner came out, spoke some really nice things about Mr. Harbaugh and said wonderful things about him and his family, called his family by name. Las Vegas Raiders, mistaken hiring Pete Carroll. Hired two of his sons, but he fired the offensive coordinator. His two sons were still there. They were terrible. They were terrible. Geno was terrible this year. No excuse. Wasted Ashton Gentry's first year. Tennessee Titans, there was a little bit of hope. The quarterback left out the game, his last game with a hamstring injury. It happens. But is Mr. Ward your guy? Maybe, maybe not. Atlanta, you got a great running back. You play indoors. You got some mid fans. Who's your quarterback? Is it Michael Penix or is it Kirk Cousins? That's a hell of a decision to make. Both of them are broken down right now. I don't know. Kirk Cousins, maybe. We'll see. You didn't think as much about him when you drafted Michael Penix as 8th in the draft. So I wouldn't be surprised that the quarterback for Atlanta Falcons isn't on the roster right now. Cleveland Browns, Shadur Sanders, get into the locker room. Get in the locker room. Get into the gym. Weight room. Everything. Get with the greatest quarterback coaches you can get with. Give yourself a real chance, regardless of the haters, regardless of the people who love you. See what you can do in an offseason. Prepare to challenge for the starting job at Cleveland. Then last is Arizona Cardinals. Their quarterback's gone anyway. Kyler Murray is not going to be there. He's got a $51 million tag. He's not going to be there. Jacoby Brissett played exceptional over the last 10 games. Just didn't have enough around him. Does Marvin Harrison wake up? Remember the prodigy? Hadn't done squat. Been hurt. Stomach issues, other issues. And great point. Definitely stay out of the massage parlors as long as it's not team authorized, right? So you definitely want to do that for sure. But back to Arizona. Jacoby Brissett was played well. Murray's gone. Marvin Harrison. Dare we say bust for Marvin Harrison? For where he was picked, all the talk about him and what he was able to do and what he's going to be able to do, Marvin Harrison has got some work to do. If I'm a coach, give me Baltimore all day and twice on Sunday. That's an easy one. You got a quarterback who can still play. You got a decent defense. They've got getting a little longer in the tooth. Kyle Hamilton's the real deal. He's from Notre Dame, but he's the real deal. You got a good offensive line. You got good receivers. Baltimore's the job that you want. The other jobs, if Baltimore's gone and you're being offered a coaching job, yeah, you take one of those. But the coup de grace is Baltimore, and I say the next in line is the Giants, because I think Jackson Dart is the real deal, and I think he has an opportunity for a long career. I absolutely believe that without a doubt, 100%. So we covered a lot of topics today, from NIL, NBA, NFL, a little bit of histrionics with regard to the college football playoffs. I definitely want to give a shout out to our sponsors for State Farm, Mac Gaddis, for all your insurance needs. Mac has been a great friend of ours for a while now. He's doing a good job for us, supporting us. Bigsby's Bigsby Sports Grill is our new sponsor. They're on 7800 Brookville Road here in Indianapolis, Indiana. Lita and Matt are great owners. They do a good job there at Bigsby's. Take a look at Bigsby's. Then lastly, Wire to the Nines. Any electronic needs you have, light fixtures, cameras, internet, those type of things. Take a look. We've got great sponsors. We've got 3 of them now. They really are coming alongside of us and doing some great things. Without them, we wouldn't have a lot of these opportunities. Look forward to us going live, hopefully, knock on wood, sooner rather than later with Bigsby, doing simulcast. Looking to do a cast in person, talk about sports and sports bar and shooting pool and drink specials. And they're going to be online as well. So we're going to be asking you all to come on down, hang out with us. We're going to have some prizes, some giveaways, some trivia stuff. We've got a lot of great things going on for the GameTimeNetwork.org in the year of 2026. So we like it. You ought to be a part of what we're doing, supporting us, sharing information. If there's engagement that you want to give, by all means, we're interactive. We're not going to ignore commentary by folks. The other thing is we all have differing opinions, and that's okay. We welcome the differing of opinions. It motivates us, to be quite honest. I love it. Even though Isaiah and Ramon are always wrong versus me, that's okay. They believe they're right, and that's all that matters. As long as you believe you're right, that's what matters. Okay. But again, appreciate all the viewers. We're trying to expand our horizon, getting on more platforms so we can be seen by more and more people supporting us and doing great things. This has been a great NFL season. The playoffs is going to be great. It's been a great college football season. These last three games are going to be wonderful. Yes, I'm going to go into a shell from end of January into August when it comes to college football. But hopefully the NBA gives me a little bit of entertainment. Hopefully my Pacers can win a few more games, can look at least competitive. But big picture wise, this has been a great sports year. I can't believe we go over our 1 year anniversary April 1st. That time is coming fast. So we'll have some great surprises as well too. But again, with that said, this is your boy D Cot. Definitely nothing but love, everybody coming and viewing on the Cots Corner. I'm not sure exactly what day I'm gonna be doing this each and every week, but I'm definitely committed to doing it each week, either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, maybe a late night Friday. I may try to do a copycat with Isaiah and do a late night conversation, but I got to go to bed a little early. I'm a little older than that. So I may let Isaiah do his overnight deal, and I'll stick with the 7:30 type, and I think that'd be better for me. But big picture wise, thanks for the support, everybody. We're doing our best. This is a hell of a lot harder than it looks, but it's fun. The engagement has been great, and you all are a big part of why we're doing what we're doing. Keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing, and keep giving us your feedback. So we definitely appreciate it. Again, this is your boy D Cot, taking my music, little music, take my little outro music. Appreciate y'all very much. Much love. Go Pacers and still roll Tide.